What's up, everybody? Hello, hello. I just realized I'm broadcasting at 300. Let's take that up to 750. Why not? Hey, Trevor. Let me know how good the connection is. If you guys are getting a good connection to the show, because I'm running a brand new system, brand new network. On a new satellite with a new router, getting some really good speeds. Trevor, cheers. Video and sound. This microphone was behind me. Is the sound better? Here, how's the sound now? Is that better? The microphone was behind my head. That's no good. How is that? Did that fix the sound? Yeah. Cool, man. Yeah, I mean, I could turn the sound up even more right here. You should have looked at my mics. Oh, no, that's cool. As soon as you said sound, I was like, oh, yeah, my microphones. So we're good. Good, huh? Yeah, I think I'm excited. We've got Ron Placone here tomorrow morning, guys. He's going to tell us about a movie that he's starring in that's coming out. That's exciting. I believe it's an independent film, but it's really awesome, man. It looks like it's going to be really fun to watch. We're going to talk about some other things, too. I'm going to let him know about my off-grid living situation. I know that he lives on the beach. We're going to talk about coastal flooding, what his concerns are around that, the fact that he chooses to live, so close to the coast. And that I'm going to tell him, that I think that's something that, while it's fun right now, he might want to have another place to go, just in case the shit starts hitting the fan. We're going to talk about the fact that scientists are saying that climate change has occurred much faster than any scientist has predicted. Well, that's bullshit, and we know it is. But I can literally show you the video of this CNN reporter saying that. I don't know. I'd like to show you guys that, actually. What do you guys think? Let me see how much bandwidth I have. If I can bring up extra stuff here, I'll show you that video. You enjoy independent movies? Yeah, I do too. Okay. UFO fighter pilot busted 6 days ago? Is that a new video from Thunderfoot? I thought we already saw that. 6 days ago? Seems like it was more than 6 days ago. Weird. You guys seen crypto? My God. Dude, I had to call my mother to tell her how much my crypto was worth this morning. Oh, I'm on the wrong channel. That says a lot. Crystal clear. It's clear as hell. Yeah, because I got more bandwidth and I'm running more output now. That's how we're going to be tomorrow morning with Ron Placone, guys. He's going to be right here. Ron Placone tomorrow morning. Here we go. Here, I found it. I found the video. Some people just seem to have so much. They enjoy speaking too much, It's like they enjoy the sound of their own voice too much.
Syrian Climate Chief Climate Chief, Bill Weir, connecting us today from New York. It wasn't like we hadn't been warned. So, Bill,
Okay, let's see if I start dropping frames.
What is new and different about this report?
Really, Becky, it's the certainty. It's these huge data sets and bigger supercomputers and better satellites that just prove not only predictions of 30 years ago when this warning, this code red for humanity began, but just reaffirms that those predictions were conservative. These are 234 scientists, 66 countries. They spent 8 years looking at 14,000 peer-reviewed papers on all aspects of the climate. And yes, it's happening faster and more dramatically than anybody ever predicted. They moved up faster and more dramatically than anybody ever predicted. And yes, it's happening faster and more dramatically than anybody ever predicted. And yes, it's happening faster and more dramatically than anybody ever predicted.
Not Dr. Guy McPherson, not me, not trendy ass dabbers, not me and Dr. Guy McPherson. No, right? Does that make you guys proud of me that I was right about that shit? Look, I'm not here to brag. I'm here to tell you guys you're watching the right podcaster. Nobody else was talking to you like I was about this. Nobody was putting it to you in the words like I was. Nobody. Nobody cared enough about you to give you the real truth because they knew you didn't want to hear it. And now they've got millions of subscribers and nobody, cares.
They moved up. Predictions were conservative. These are 234 scientists, 66 countries. They spent 8 years looking at 14,000 peer-reviewed papers on all aspects of the climate. And yes, it's happening faster and more dramatically than anybody ever predicted. They moved up aspects of the climate. And yes, it's happening faster and more dramatically than anybody ever predicted. And yes, it's happening faster and more dramatically than anybody ever predicted. And yes, it's happening faster and more dramatically than anybody ever predicted.
No, you're a fucking liar. You just ignore the people who did predict it. You just ignored people like me. Why? Because YouTube didn't think that you needed the information back then. Because I said bad words and I'm a bully. Huh? That's the way it goes. Humanity gets to suffer because I got algorithm. Nobody wanted to listen to little old me. I need a splash of confetti. Stacked! I need a splash stacked. Now it's 94 degrees outside. Dude, really? God bless America. In the shade. Staying out there? Okay. Stay outside. I'm fine with that. I'm okay with that. I'm great with that, as a matter of fact. Unreal. Nobody's even great with that anymore. Flex on them. Hey, I'll flex on this right here. Look at that. Yo, Don, what's up, buddy? How's it going, bro? This ain't the Starlink yet. No Starlink, man. Starlink sucks my dick. They're still sucking it. This is more Viasat, but I've got a double account now. So I'm able to switch from one satellite to the other. In 4 days, I'll have 2 accounts that are totally clear. Right now, I've got 1 account. I've got 149 gigabytes available of data. They used up a whole gig just updating my service.
They moved up about a decade to when we might pass the 1.5 degrees Celsius sort of red line in the sand of the Paris Accords. That'll happen early 2030s now, they believe.
I'm going to get my coffee. I'll be right back.
Anywhere
okay?
between 3 and 5 degrees of warming Celsius past pre-industrial levels, which was a completely different planet on so many levels. But also saying how bad it gets is directly determined to what is done right now. And they've started building political will into the models, saying status as usual, this is what will happen. A green path where countries work together, this is where we're headed. Because that ultimately is the biggest X factor, human nature.
Yeah, we're looking at images of you recently in Greenland. Tell us about what you witnessed there.
It's interesting because they're sort of on the defrost setting of planet Earth, while others are on based or broil in the south. Life is easier. It's milder. It's easier to fish for a living in those places. More tourists are coming now. But just the staggering amount of melt that's going on there is frightening. It's not only risking the lives of ice scientists I spent time with. One, Conrad Steffen, lost his life out there. Those are the first responders studying this. But it's shedding so much fresh water, it could stop the ocean currents of the Gulf Stream, which is really the thermostat for Asia or for Europe rather, and North America. In one day last week, enough of Greenland melted to cover the state of Florida in 2 inches of water. And that's what's happening when we're not paying attention, when we're focused on wildfires or larger storms.
Right.
Sea level rise is a big part of this new report, saying that it could be 2 meters or 22 meters. Becky, it's just a matter of how soon humanity changes its fuels.
So if we, humanity, have caused it, how about some solutions, at least in the short term, Bill?
Well, the thing to focus on immediately that has the most impact is methane. And this report really sort of lays bare the theory that this is a cleaner bridge fuel, cleaner than coal. Well, a lot of things are cleaner than coal. We don't burn whales anymore. But turns out that natural gas is 80 times more potent than CO2. So if you imagine, a baby in a car on a hot day, sun pouring through the windshield and the steel, that's sort of carbon dioxide trapping the heat. But
Natural
methane
gas.
is like turning on the heater inside the car. It acts.
Hey, guess what? They're just starting to talk about methane on CNN today. Hey, guess what? We're all dead. And they're just telling you about it. I'm not going to, don't worry, I'm not going to get mad. I'm not going to get mad about it. I'm not going to yell and scream. I'm not going to rant and rave. Because I was right. And they wanted to ignore me. And ha 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 ha. Hey, buddy. Hey, dude with the suit and tie. You got a well where you live? You better hope you do. Mr. fucking $200,000 a year, motherfucker. Hey, Billy, what's up?
Much faster and it's easier to control. So by capping dairy farms and
Billy.
figuring out how to capture, as you can see in this infrared imagery, all of that planet cooking pollution, that's just...
Yes, Nathan, that's the Beatles behind me. Who else could it possibly be? I love saying that. 225.
In Greenland, tell us about what you...
In one day last week, enough of Greenland melted to cover the state of Florida in 2 inches of water.
God
At
damn.
least in the short term, Bill.
Well, the thing to focus on immediately that has the most impact is methane. And this report really sort of lays bare the...
Dude, I'm not going to stop eating my fucking steaks or my hamburgers or my tri-tips, my ground beef, my meatloaf, my meatballs. None of it. I'm not going vegan. And hey, man. Hey, Graham Elwood, roll up your sleeves, son. Yeah, these ain't vegan guns, bro. These ain't vegan guns. And I'm just here to tell you, if I ain't going to do it, I don't see the world doing it either. We're so fucked. The time to address this would have been years ago when I was talking about this on my show. When I had thousands of people that would come to my live streams, and then shit lips came along with Google and decided that people like me shouldn't have a voice on the internet. But like I said, I'm not going to start yelling about it. I'm not going to get upset about it. I'm just going to sit here and laugh and be like, look at these people. Now, this is what I said was going to happen. I'm like, I'm going off grid. Remember this? I said, man, fuck this shit. I'm going off grid. I've already got a well. I'm going to get solar. I said, I'm going to grow my own vegetables, and if everything collapses, I'll be ready. And what did I used to tell you guys? And if it doesn't collapse, then I got $1 million property that someone's going to want to buy. And it'll be worth something. It'll be a great investment. No matter what, it was a great idea. The day's arrived. We're here, man. You might not think the day's arrived for you yet, but it has. And here's the thing. There's still moments left for you to try to get yourself into a position where you could deal with this shit. But like I said before, I don't even give a fuck anymore, man. You guys gonna do what you're gonna do. I can't help you, and good luck. Best of luck to everybody out there. We knew this was coming. And now it's time for those of us who have taken the precautions to sit back, do some bong rips, and watch it happen and laugh. Because there's no reaching these morons. They won't even put a piece of paper on their children's faces to save their own lives, let alone their children's lives. They're not going to listen to us. Fuck that shit. Keep getting your goddamn, your shipped in water and electricity and see how long that lasts you.
The theory that this is a cleaner bridge fuel, cleaner than coal. A lot of things are cleaner than coal. We don't burn whales anymore.
Whales.
Turns out that natural gas is 80 times more potent than CO2. So if you imagine, than CO2. So that natural gas is 80 times more potent than CO2.
Natural gas.
That natural gas is 80 times more potent than CO2.
Natural gas.
Turns out that natural gas is 80 times more potent
natural
than CO2.
gas.
So if you imagine,
oh, I'm doing so good for the environment. I'm using natural gas.
Turns out that natural gas. Turns out that natural gas. 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 That natural gas is. That natural gas is 8. Turns out that natural gas is 80 times more. Turns out that natural gas is 80. That natural gas is 80 times.
I want him to say ass.
Natural gas is 80 times. Natural gas is 80. Acid. 80 times.
No. Are you guys laughing? Are you guys laughing? Ha. No? No? Not laughing? Okay.
More potent than CO2. So if you imagine, a baby in a car on a hot day, sun's pouring through the windshield and the steel, that's sort of carbon dioxide trapping the heat. But methane is like turning on the heater inside the car.
I mean, think about that. The guy uses somebody's baby as a fucking example. Let's put a baby in a car. It's really, really hot. Let's turn the heater on and fucking really roast that baby. This is a CNN analogy, guys. I mean, how many people in the world have ever, been, tormented over the fact that somebody left their baby in the fucking car and died, And this guy's using that shit as a goddamn, it's just like a passing thought. Hey, man, say a baby gets locked in a car. Yeah. Let's go up to that car and turn the heat on. Can we hear him say that a few times?
It acts dioxide trapping the heat, but methane is like turning on the heater inside the car, pouring through the windshield. The sun's pouring through the windshield in a car on a hot. Imagine, a baby in a car on a hot day. Imagine, a baby in a car on a hot day. Imagine, a baby. Imagine, a baby. So if you imagine, a baby. So if you imagine, a baby in a. So if you imagine, a baby. So if you imagine, a baby. So if you imagine, a baby in a car on a hot day. In a car on a hot day, a baby in a car on a hot day, a baby in a car on a hot day, a baby in a car on a hot day.
Look, hey man, I don't make this shit up. I just point out who the fucking cunts are. The cunts at CNN are using a baby dying of heat in a car and turning the heater on to torture the baby even more as an example. It's the tortured, heated up, melted baby example that they like to use at CNN. Oh, you like that? At CNN. The tortured baby example they like to use at CNN. I hope you guys enjoy watching my show.
Sun's pouring through the windshield. The windshield and the steel, that's sort of carbon dioxide trapping the heat. But methane is like turning on the heater inside the car. It acts much faster and it's easier to control. So by capping...
Now think about that baby. Let's think about that baby in that car. Oh, don't worry. We're just going to forget about that baby for now. Let's just leave that baby in that hot car with the heat turned all the way up and the sun pouring through the windshield on a hot day. Let's just leave that baby there for a moment. We're not going to go there and rescue the baby. We're not calling anybody. No, we're just going to let that baby fucking become a stain on the seat. That's what we're going to do with that baby.
Dairy farms and figuring out how to...
And by the way, the seats are black and they're vinyl, in case you were wondering. And it's a black car, too.
To capture, as you can see in this infrared imagery, all of that planet-cooking pollution that's just leaking unchecked from oil fields all across both the
planet
developed
cooking
and developing world. That would be the first place to start. We have to do that to succeed. So let's start there. That means jobs capping these wells and technology booms for people who can come up with better ways to fix.
So let's all get those well cappers, all those jobs for all those well cappers out there. Think all those jobs, man. Good thing that's not like a specialty job or anything. Anybody could do that, right? Anybody go out there and cap a fucking well off. My goodness gracious. I'm sorry, man. It breaks my heart that people don't find this show more interesting. It breaks my heart when I see people leaving, man. It breaks my fucking heart.
It's that problem.
It's so hard for me just to retain a small amount of people, man, you know? When 3 people decide to leave, it kills my numbers.
And so there's the conversation now, not only the trillions that could be made addressing this, but how much it'll cost if we do nothing.
Yeah, absolutely. You and I will talk regularly. I know, because this is not going away. We need to know what we can all do to get on with this. We get it, and we know you get it, folks. Thank you, Bill. Just look at Greece being ravaged by wildfires, houses in flames, forests being scorched. Some of the people there calling it apocalyptic. Nations across the world have stepped up, sending in firefighters and helicopters to help.
Thank you, Nick.
Smoke turning the sky orange above everything.
As if we need infrared to see the smoke, the heat pouring out of these things.
Yeah, Greece's second largest island, ferries up.
People would rather watch Netflix than smoke a bong.
Standing by.
I'd rather smoke a bong, fuck Netflix.
Path of flames, making it worse.
Cheers, guys.
Climate conditions. Greece is suffering through its worst heat wave in 30 years. Let's get right to CNN's Eleni Giokos, who is on the island of Evia, and fires there, as I understand it, burning out of control. What are you witnessing?
Yeah, Becky, I mean, look, there are 4 fronts right now. It's in the northern part of the island, and we're basically very close to where the fires are currently blazing. We've been sent away because it is just that dangerous. But looking behind me here, this is sort of the apocalyptic scenario, the aftermath of the blaze that has ripped through so many parts of this island. 450,000 hectares, Becky, of forest, of precious forest, has been completely destroyed. In Greece as a whole, from the beginning of the heat wave a couple of weeks ago, around 650,000 hectares have been destroyed. So it gives you a sense of the scale. The firefighters, the people, the residents that we've been speaking to say they have never seen anything at this scale in the past. One firefighter said he has, experienced many fires in his career, but never this intense and this aggressive. Now, what's compounding the issue, and you've alluded to this, is the heat wave that has ripped through the country over the past few days, and that, of course, intensifies the impact of the fire. You can see here you've got electricity poles that are being destroyed. Most of the island lost access to electricity as well as water because infrastructure has been destroyed. So if you look at what it means in terms of rebuilding, you're looking at a very stark scenario. You're talking about people being evacuated. Some have opted to leave. We found villagers that were about 1 kilometer away from a blazing fire that decided to stay in their homes to protect their livelihoods. And it was so fascinating to see men and women trying to get water to firefighters. 22 countries have sent assistance, boots on the ground, helicopters, aircraft as well, to try and get this fire under control. This is the 7th day, Becky. This is
the only country being scorched. California also living with the impact of the climate crisis right now. The massive Dixie fire, now the second largest wildfire in state history, and it is still growing. Thousands of people are under evacuation orders, and this fire isn't just affecting those who live in its path. Smoke from the blaze is blanketing communities across the region. CNN's Camilla Bernal is in Paradise, California, with more.
Paradise. One of our viewers lost their home in Paradise.
Thick and it's unhealthy. If you look here behind me, you're normally supposed to see a canyon. Instead, you're seeing it filled with smoke. That smoke coming south from the Dixie Fire, and it's not only flooding this canyon, but also the communities nearby. The Dixie Fire has been burning for almost a month, and we're seeing it growing, but we're not seeing much progress on containment. We are also seeing the number of structures destroyed by this fire increasing. It's now at about 400 structures destroyed by this fire. Governor Gavin Newsom using this weekend to visit the town and using the visit to talk about climate change.
The extreme weather conditions, extreme droughts are leading to extreme conditions and wildfire challenges like some which we've never seen in our history. And as a consequence, we need to acknowledge just straight up, these are climate-induced wildfires. And we have to acknowledge we have the capacity in this country, not just the state, to solve this.
And Governor Gavin Newsom did point to prevention, talked about things like managing the forest, but made it very clear that more needs to be done. He also thanked the 8,500 men and women who are working to stop this fire. Camila Bernal, CNN, Paradise, California.
We'll get to Peru now. More than 500 people there battling a wildfire. Officials say the fire has consumed more than 8,000 hectares since it started last Thursday. Firefighters, soldiers, even local officials and residents are pitching in to battle these flames. A regional governor requesting air support. There have been no reports of injuries or deaths, thankfully, there, but extreme weather making headlines around the world, not just today, but for months, years.
Yeah. And I couldn't give a fuck at this point. I told people I wasn't going to give a fuck. I said, man, I know it's going to happen. I remember saying this. I'm going to yell and scream and yell and scream. Nobody's going to listen to me, and I'm just going to lose my love for all of humanity. And I'm just going to sit back and watch the world burn and laugh and laugh and laugh while it happens up here on my mountaintop. And it's sad. But, you know, shit lips and YouTube and Twitter, social media made me into this. And y'all, you know, the people that don't want to show up to my shows, but, you know, once a month, you too, you're guilty too. You know, the people that come in here and don't share the video around, you're guilty too. But, you know, I tried. I just, you know, I went about it the wrong way. Nobody listened. And it's too late. DJD14D, I'm glad you're here. Enoch says, end of the world, son. Why you beasling? Yeah, I know, bro. I'm glad y'all are... The people that are here, at least y'all are here. But there's only 15 of you. You know? Other than grabbing a rake and volunteering at the fire station. You know? Louis Rossman is so happy fucking that Andrew Cuomo resigned. We should watch that. That's awesome. You're so ready. I was right. Yeah, and you know, where's all the other people that I warned that have gone off grid, you know, that are living that life, that credit me with warning them? Why aren't they supporting my show anymore? Where are all those people at, you know? Fucking A, man. Watching Fox News, I guess.
Hey, bud. How's it going?
Wow.
I have a smile on my face today. Governor Cuomo is resigning.
Yes.
Finally.
Yes.
It makes me sad sometimes in my comments when people say, I don't know why you're mad at this, Louis. You got what you voted for. As if people's philosophy, their politics, their ideology, their opinions, their thoughts, their ideas, their experiences are completely determined by their latitude and longitude at the time of their birth. It's something that's kind of frustrated me. See, anybody who's been a follower for the channel for any period of time understands. I have never been a fan of Cuomo for reasons that I'll get into in this video. As you can see, as far back as 3 years ago, it says over here, consider Larry Sharpe for governor of New York in my border repair video. I had this little banner because I supported Larry Sharpe and I voted for Larry Sharpe. I thought he was quite a superior candidate to Cuomo. I did use the word consider Larry Sharpe, not vote for Larry Sharpe, because I don't have the right to tell you who to vote for. I don't have the right to tell you how to think.
You can say whatever the fuck you want, bro. Don't put words in your own head. If I want to tell my audience to vote for Bernie Sanders, if I want to tell my audience don't ever vote for another fucking politician again, hey, bro, I can do it. If they want to listen to me or not, that's on them, and I know that. That's the choice of words that I use when I tell people shit. I don't give a fuck. Now, he might get a lot further with his sugar than I do with my fucking spice, but that's just the kind of person I am. You know, and my choice of words is going to be, hey, man, you guys are going to do what you want to do. You can fucking listen to me, or you can fucking die. You can all die. Because that's what's going to happen to a lot of people that don't listen to me when their water shuts off. And they can't get a drink of water anymore. And then they're going to go out of their home to try to go get water, and they're going to get killed. And at that moment that they're getting killed, they're going to remember me. And they're going to be like, that son of a bitch was right.
I can ask you to consider something, to read something, to watch something. It's in my opinion, but I'm not going to tell you what to do or what to think.
Well, man, you know what? You should give your words and your advice more credit, more credence, more strength, more power, more passion. I'm just saying, bro, you got 1.5 million people watching you. Don't be a pussy, okay? And stop waxing your fucking eyebrows. What the fuck is that? What are you doing? Stop that. What, are you going to start drawing them in next? You want some eyeliner, bro? Dude, you got some eyeliner, dude? Yeah, bro, I got some eyeliner, bro, from Halloween last year, bro. You want to use some? Yeah, dude. There's this guy on the Nay show, bro. He's got his eyebrows waxed, bro. I want to do that, bro. I want to look like that dude. He all looks like all 90210, bro. He looks like that new cop on 90210, bro. The new cop, bro. With the shaved eyebrows, bro. With the waxed eyebrows, bro.
This is exactly what Larry Sharpe was talking about over 3 years ago. In many of his interviews,
And, hey, he's Metro, and I have no problem with that. I have no problem with the fact that he's Metro at all. He lives in a different part of the world. He is exposed to a whole other way of life, and I'm aware of that. I have nothing but love and respect for this guy. I want you guys to know that. When I attack his eyebrows, it's not a personal attack. It's just more like ribbing, like what I would call like brotherly love, you know? And he can make fun of my long hair and my beard like everybody else does.
I can't remember which one it was. He would say that Cuomo thought he was a dictator. He thought he was a king. He doesn't act like a governor. He acts like a king. And that has been at the root of why people like me fundamentally dislike him.
What was that cop's name on 90210 who waxed his eyebrows?
I like using an electric bike to go back and forth to work. I think the train system sucks. And driving...
Or was it Melrose Place? No, it was 90210.
Like being kicked in the balls over and over again. It's horrible. You can take...
No, it's 20...
to get somewhere with a car.
My bad. It was 21 Jump Street. That was the name of the show. I was like, Melrose Place. I was like, 90210. No, 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 no. For I have digressed. It was 21 Jump Street. And there was a new cop on there that waxed his eyebrows.
That would take...
What was that guy's name?
Take 20 minutes with an electric bike. And he voted against it. So they voted 137-4 in favor of legalizing electric bicycles, and Cuomo vetoed it. And rumors at the time were that one of the...
Yo, bro, why were your eyebrows so thick in that last video? What was up with that? Let's look at that, shall we?
Were that one of the co-sponsors of the bill that vetoed it. And
he does that quick. He gets rid of that quick.
He voted against it. So they voted 137-4 in favor of legalizing electric bikes.
Eyebrow thickness check here, guys. Look at the eyebrow thickness in his old video. Dude, why is your eyebrows so thick back then, man? What's up with that? You got like full eyebrows, bro. What's up with that? He's like, I don't want people to compare my eyebrow. He clicks off it real quick.
And Cuomo vetoed it. And rumors at the time were that one of the co-sponsors of the bill that was someone that had criticized Cuomo on social media before, and that
guy's name was Booker. Grieco. That was it. It was fucking Richard Grieco. It was Grieco. It was Richard Grieco. That's who it was. You're right. Billy, it was Grieco. You're right.
that contributed heavily to his veto.
Hi, Tula.
And he does have a fairly thin skin. Again, if you criticize him, there are tons of stories out there, countless stories of him going out of his way to threaten people, to threaten to ruin their careers, to make their lives miserable. And that is often what he did. He was a bully, and he was protected by the fact that there were many people who just lived in fear, cowered in fear of losing their political clout, losing their political career, or of him retaliating against them. There are countless examples of this. Even when it comes to just basic things like distribution of vaccine. He was a dictatorial governor. He thought he was a king. And this is even prior to COVID.
Was that a junk cut right then, guys? I missed it. I heard it, but I didn't see it.
Video that I did was in December of 2019. The reason that I play this clip at the end of many of my recent videos where he's saying, oh, you want a job? You have a problem making money?
Yeah, you want a job? You got a problem making money? There's plenty of jobs out there in the what's he say, in the first responders. There's plenty of first responder jobs out there. You could get one. Hey, you have a job right now? You want a job? You can go get a job. He's being such a douchebag. She's like, I've got a job. He's like, jobs are available. Anybody can get a job right now. You can get a job. He's just being such a douchebag.
Hey, go get a job as essential worker. Do it tomorrow. Oh, you can get a job. You can get a job, but nobody's hiring right now. Oh, do it tomorrow. Get a job. I mean, and then he says, but then you won't kill anyone. He was a demagogue. He engaged in rhetoric that allowed him to be perceived as someone who cared about people when he didn't. He wanted to be seen as a hero. He wanted to be seen as the Emmy Award-winning governor that told it as it was, that, made the hard decisions and faced people, on the news, in spite of the fact that he had a higher per capita death rate than fucking Florida. We lost to Florida, where the governor's COVID strategy essentially amounts to, what do you mean, cuties? No cuties on me. We had the USS Comfort here. We had the Army Corps of Engineers able to build a full hospital in the Javits Center so that if...
Let me tell you something about this guy. He knows what the fuck is up. That's why I watch his channel. He gets it. He gets it. And when he gets it wrong, he admits it. That's why you should watch his channel too.
If you had any elderly that were infected, they could have been handled separately.
Louis Rossman is the channel name, guys. Louis Rossman. He's fucking awesome. He puts up great content. Yeah, I know. He's chills in that fucking lazy boy. It's fucking hilarious. You know what's funny? I get the feeling that he's a big dude. But the chair makes him look like a little dude. Isn't that funny? I get the feeling he's probably like 6 feet tall, 5'11", something like that. He's probably a pretty big dude. He's probably 200 pounds. I'm assuming. But that chair makes him look like a tiny little person. My stream's better because I'm on my new satellite. Dude, I got 2 satellite dishes now, right next to each other. Hey, I got a freaking satellite dish. I got another dish. A dishy up there on the goddamn, with the goddamn, shut up, you're very good, you're no good, yo. Shut up.
Separately from the rest of the population. But no. He's too busy smiling for the camera. He's too busy talking about if it saves only one life, while the city of New York is filled with shacks and houses all over the street. He wanted to look good for the camera. He wanted to be able to have his cake and eat it too. And now, he's going to be gone.
Yay.
I think that is a good thing.
Yeah, I think it's a good thing.
It's good to take the era of having a king rather than a governor and put it behind us and learn a lesson from this so that it doesn't happen again.
Good for him.
Larry Sharp warned us over 3 years ago, and very few people listened. He was one of the people that voted for him, but most people didn't. Now, when it comes to going forward, I don't think that for electoral purposes that either side is actually going to be happy with the long-term consequence of this. Now, to be clear, you should not be getting your political commentary from me. For F's sake, go to somebody who knows what they're talking about with this kind of stuff. But the person who's most likely going to be taking over is the Lieutenant Governor, Kathy Hochul. Now, Kathy Hochul is not a really, really progressive person, but she's also a Democrat. Now, with Cuomo, he was kind of like a corporate Democrat, and the idea was if you have these scandals, whether it's a nursing home scandal or the sexual stuff scandal, that it would be easier to get him
Oh,
to
wait,
move a little bit more
wait,
left, a little bit more
wait a minute.
because he no longer had.
Wait a minute. I'm fucking wrong. I'm wrong. I thought he was a big dude. He's not. And I know he's a little dude. Can anybody figure out why I know that he's a little dude now and he's not a big dude? I'm going to say he's 5'4". Maybe. He could even be 5'3", this guy. Does anybody know why I'm assuming that now? And I'll let you see him larger so you can see what I'm looking at. Anybody that thinks they can figure out why, let me know, okay? Let me know. We're gonna watch and see if you guys can figure it out. How I figured it out.
As the power that he did before. You now have leverage over him. And he's gone. So you're not going to get that. Now, Republicans may believe it would be easier to elect a Republican governor if there is still that taste in your mouth of a sexual predator that was a horrible governor who just so happened to be a Democrat. Kathy Hochul is actually a fairly intelligent woman and a fairly capable person who is also not crazy.
The size of the chair was the first giveaway, but I was just assuming it was a big-ass fucking comfy chair. Something else. No, not really the keyboard. Keep going. Keep going. Keep going.
Not a dictator. Doesn't think she's going to be a king or
Keep
a queen.
going.
She's just a fairly...
Here, I'll brighten it up for you.
So it's going to be difficult for people who I think are more progressive to push her to the left. But it also, I think, is going to be difficult for Republicans to run the type of campaign against voting for a Democrat that they would have been able to do if a jackass like Cuomo were in office. So I think that the long-term result of this is probably not great for either party. Because Republicans would like to see New York a little bit more right. And people who are more progressive-leaning would like to see a Democrat win, but someone who is not a corporate Democrat the way that Cuomo is. And
I'm like, he's either a real small dude or that is a giant fucking cat sitting on his lap. That is one huge cat. And I started thinking to myself, what are the chances of both the chair and the cat being giant? So I did a little bit of that. I was like, oh, he's a little guy. That's funny. The cat is a definite dead giveaway. The cat looks like a panther. Yeah, the cat looks like a black panther on the chair with him.
They're not going to be able to push someone like Kathy, I imagine, as far as they could push Cuomo, because there isn't really any leverage on her. Again, this is just my uninformed, ignorant thoughts on this as someone who does not really follow politics too much. But I am happy to see Cuomo out. I'm happy to see the dictator leave. Again, every time I see one of these fucking shacks on the street that has an air conditioner in it, that has doors, that has windows, and all this bullshit, the reason you have that is because he wants to be able to go on the news and say, if it only saves one life. He wants to pander to that group of people while simultaneously not dealing with the consequences of having a city and a state that are economically destroyed as a result of shit policy. At the end of the day, he wants to be able to say that he cares about just saving one life and all this other stuff while letting the Javits Center not get used as a place for people who are vulnerable to quarantine them separately from the rest of the nursing home population of the U.S.
I saw the cat's head was turned sideways, and it was so wide. The head of that cat was so fucking wide. I was like, damn, he makes that cat look huge.
Comfort or anything like that. Like, yeah, worst per capita death rate and total death rate in Florida. This man. There are just basic things that could have been done differently in the beginning of this pandemic, so that many people could have maintained their freedom.
So sad,
while
man.
We still had a lower death
Our
rate.
leadership around the world is such a fucking joke. You know, and we know why all of these motherfucking cunts have decided to become politicians, so they can just make money and they just enrich themselves and not do their jobs. And they figured out the best way that they can make money and keep their jobs is get that money and support from the big corporations that don't give a fuck about us either. You got to start giving a fuck about yourselves. You got to get that well. You got to get those solar panels. You got to get that power. You got to get that off-grid shit going, guys. Hey, John P., what's up? Trevor, of course, Billy, us short dudes are not to be taken lightly. We grew up having to see eye to eye with giants. How tall are you, Billy? I always figured you were about my height. Did I call out Tim Black last night? No, he called me out. He fucking called me out and really gave me a nice... Oh, you're 5'8"? I'm 5'9". I figured you were about my height. You're not that short, bro. Who you calling short? Big guy? Who you calling short, big guy? Yeah, dude. We covered it on the show. It was great. For 4 or 5 minutes, he talked about me on his show. He said, Nay's garden. I don't know what you're smoking. And he just went off on me. And we laughed and we laughed and we laughed. And he came into my live stream. And he gave me a shout out. He came into the live stream. But he didn't hang out. But he did come in the live stream. You're 5'9". Yeah, we're the same height. Hey, Karen. Thank you for... I guess the 5 is... You're either saying you're 5 feet tall or you're saying that you're hosting this on Twitch. Thank you. Either one. It's fine. So my water is running down there. It's working for the new plants that I put in. It's saturated the ground nice behind them. You know, they're going to do just fine outside. I'm excited about that. They're going to be in direct sunlight here probably right about now. 96 degrees in the shade. We could splash up. You're 5'11", Enoch? Hell yeah, you are. Yeah, you are. Let's see what else is going on YouTube here. For the People? What was the For the People Act? The Democrats were trying to push something called a For the People Act, and Ted Cruz blocked it. Let's see what that was all about. Chuck Schumer. I'm Chuck Schumer. I'm here to tell you.
The yeas are 50, the nays are 49. The motion to discharge is agreed to, and the bill will be placed on the calendar.
And now, Mr. President, I ask unanimous consent the Senate proceed to immediate consideration of S-2093 for the People Act of 2021.
Is there objection? Seeing none, so ordered. Oh, Senator from Texas. Senator from Texas.
Reserving the right to object. This bill would constitute a federal government takeover of elections. It would constitute a massive power grab by Democrats. It would disenfranchise millions of Americans. And it would do precisely the opposite of its nominal title, For the People. It is instead for the politicians, because it entrenches politicians and ensures that the people cannot vote them out of office.
That's not good.
It would strike down virtually every reasonable voter integrity law in the country, including voter ID laws supported by the overwhelming majority of the country, prohibitions on ballot harvesting, again widely supported by people in this country. It would mandate that felons be allowed to vote, and it would
I'm okay with felons voting.
Automatically register millions of illegal aliens to vote.
I'm okay with illegal aliens voting. They live in this country. They live under our rule. I'm okay with them helping select our leaders. You know, how bad of a job could they do? Look at what we've done. Look at the clowns that we've elected.
It would profoundly undermine democracy in this country.
No, it would allow democracy to reach more people. He's a fucking liar. I understand what this law was. They were trying to stop these fucking Republican cunts all over the United States from passing all these stupid voter ID laws and voter suppression laws and no more mail-in ballot laws. And they were trying to stop that. And it would have been a good thing. And this cunt and his Republic cunt friends, they don't want black people to vote. Period. If you're a Republican and you're black, you're an idiot. You're a fucking idiot. Because this is the leadership that you're fucking voting for. You're voting against your own people. It's psychotic.
And for that reason, I object.
The objection is heard.
Mr. President,
Majority Leader.
the Republican minority has just prevented the Senate from even having a debate, just that, on voting rights in this country. I understand my Republican colleagues don't approve of every aspect of the Democratic bill to protect voting rights. But surely there are areas where our two parties can find some agreement. Partisan gerrymandering, for instance, has plagued our country for too long. It skews our democracy towards the extremes. It strips the American people of their right to have a truly representative government. Voters ought to pick their politicians, not the other way around. But in so many states, partisan legislators draw maps that artificially maximize the number of seats that the majority party will win. Some districts are so safe that the most extreme candidates can run and win with hardly any competition. Surely my Republican colleagues would agree that partisan gerrymandering deserves a debate on the Senate floor. It's a small part of that.
I mean, when I could sit here and agree with fucking Chuck Schumer on something, I hate myself, but at the same time, he's right. And you guys should recognize that he's right about this. You just should know that. He's right about that.
One, but one that has broad universal support. So I ask unanimous consent, and the support, by the way, of all 50 of my colleagues, of 49 of my Democratic colleagues. So I ask unanimous consent that the Senate proceed to the immediate consideration of S-2670, Calendar 119, the Redistricting Reform Act of 2021.
Is there objection?
Mr. President,
Senator from Texas.
reserving the right to object, the text of the Constitution explicitly assigns the power to engage in redistricting to elected state legislatures in the states. There is a reason for that.
Yeah?
That ensures that redistricting is controlled by the people.
Are you fucking kidding me? Did you hear what this fucking cunt just said? So let me ask you, there's 17 of you watching right now. Have any of you ever been asked by a politician where the district line should be drawn for voters in your area? He just said, this fucking lying cunt bag, this dirt bag fucking lying cunt bag, literally just looked some folks in the eye and just said that we, the people, are deciding where the district lines are drawn. Did you hear this? Here, I want you to hear this fucking cunt bag say this shit again.
To engage in redistricting to elected state legislatures in the states. There is a reason for that. That ensures that redistricting is controlled by the people. Ensures that redistricting is controlled by the people. Controlled by the people. Controlled by the people. Controlled by the people.
By which people, Ted Cruz? Which people are the ones that are making sure that black people and Hispanic people are literally chopped around in these massive attempts to separate and break them apart so that they can't vote in the district that is most convenient for them, number one. You know, make it as hard as you can for them to find a place to vote. And make it so you group those people in the smallest amounts so that they have no voice in that particular district that you gerrymandered. Do you think those people that you took their power away from voting, do you think they got to draw those lines? You fucking lying cunt.
We have an unfortunate pattern in today's Congress, which is today's Democrats no longer believe in democracy. Their Bill S-1, what many call the Corrupt Politicians Act, is designed...
And you guys, this is the argument that defeated the bill. This is the cunt with the stupid fucking argument that makes no sense that defeated this bill that made nothing but sense. To try to give black people a fair voice when it comes to voting. That's all they're trying to do. They're just trying to let everyone in the United States have a voice. Everyone have a vote. And if, you know, you wanted more black people to vote for you, you would do more for black people and give them the right to vote, not do less for them and take their right to vote away from them. But when you take away mail-in voting, when you decrease the amount of districts, when you don't allow people to give people standing in line water, when you limit the days that people can come in and vote, you're hurting people who don't make as much money. You're hurting Hispanics. You're hurting blacks. These are all facts, guys. You can research gerrymandering. You can see what the fuck these cunts have been doing. And this motherfucker, you know, I thought the Democrats were supposed to be in charge. I thought they were supposed to have the House. You know, what was it? That motherfucking cunt, what's his name? Joe Manchin, voting against them? I don't know.
Designed to prevent the voters from voting Democrats out of office. This bill, the bill to remove the state legislatures from their constitutionally appointed responsibility of being in charge of redistricting, would instead assign that to commissions and ultimately to the...
Why do you need to redistrict anything at all, you stupid, fat, fucking, dumbass, motherfucking cunt, bitch, motherfucking father of cunts, son of fucking dumb fucking cunts? Fuck you and your whole bloodline.
Federal courts to unelected federal judges. Now, redistricting and gerrymandering can lead to ugly consequences. This is not new. Redistricting and gerrymandering can lead to ugly consequences. Gerrymandering can lead to ugly consequences. Gerrymandering can lead to ugly consequences. Redistricting and gerrymandering can lead to ugly consequences. 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 Gerrymandering can lead to ugly consequences.
But we have to allow the states to come up with those ugly consequences on their own and give them the freedom to fuck the voting system up around the entire country. What's he going to say next? Probably exactly what I just said. You know, but removing the rights away from the states isn't the way to correct that problem.
This is not new. The founders were well aware of the ugly consequences of gerrymandering. Indeed, the very word gerrymander comes from Eldridge Gerry, one of the founders whose district was so contorted it looked like a salamander. That's where the district came from. The founders knew that if you give redistricting to elected politicians...
He's literally saying the quiet part out loud right now, guys. He's literally admitting why this shit shouldn't be allowed. This is fucking psychotic. This should have won Chuck Schumer's argument for him right here.
They will act based on political concerns. Founders knew that if you give redistricting to elected politicians, they will act based on political concerns. Where the district came from. The founders knew that if you give redistricting to elected politicians, they will act based on political concerns. The founders knew that if you give redistricting to elected politicians, they will act based on political concerns. The founders knew that if you give redistricting to elected politicians, they will act based on political concerns. The founders knew that if you give redistricting to elected politicians, they will act based on political concerns. Politicians, they will act based on political concerns. Political concerns. Act based on political concerns. Act based on political concerns. Act based on political concerns. To elected politicians, they will act based on political concerns. To elected politicians, they will act based on political concerns. To elected politicians, they will act based on political concerns.
So what he's saying is, if you give the states and these politicians the rights to gerrymander, they'll gerrymander so that they keep winning the elections to go against the other party, right? That's what he's saying. He's literally just admitted that as he stands there and tries to leave states' rights to gerrymandering, among a bunch of other bullshit in this bill. But let's see what he says. And let me just say this, man. I understand. I only have 12 viewers left, man. I had 20. Half of my audience is left. And those people that aren't interested, when I'm talking about stuff like this, the mentality of those people, it just shines through to me. You're literally not going to let me teach you something? That's fine. You know, I'll move on. I'll move past those people. I will.
The reason the founders did so is even with those downsides, it keeps the process accountable to the people.
No, it doesn't.
If you instead hand it over to unelected commissions or to...
He just said politicians. You know, if the people elected politicians, then the politicians have the power to change the districting so that they stay in office. How the fuck is that power to the people? Oh, that's right, it's not. It's power to the politicians. You fucking cunt liar. Why the fuck did this bill not pass?
Unelected federal judges, the people are disenfranchised. That is a serious mistake. I would note, over a decade ago, I defended the constitutionality and the constitutional assignment of that responsibility to the state legislatures before the United States Supreme Court in the Texas redistricting case, and we won a landmark 5-4 victory where the Supreme Court upheld the clear constitutional authorization of legislatures to engage in redistricting, even if they engage in political concerns, because the check on that is not unelected judges second-guessing the people. Rather, the check on that is democracy and the people engaging in their own check and balance. Accordingly, I object.
Mr. President.
The objection is heard. The Majority Leader.
So the American people should understand, Republicans just blocked the Senate from even debating legislation to end partisan gerrymandering and make our Congress more representative of the people. Surely our Republican colleagues, however, would agree that billions of dollars in anonymous campaign donations every year is not a function of a healthy democracy. Surely they must agree that America's representatives should have only one boss, the people, not the special interests. So I'm going to ask the Senate now to debate a simple measure to bring a much-needed transparency to campaign donations. Just transparency, not even limits, although I would certainly support those. At the very least, the American people deserve to know who is trying to influence their representatives and how strenuously. So I ask unanimous consent the Senate proceed to the immediate consideration of S. 2671, Calendar 120, the Disclose Act of 2021, which has the support of our entire caucus.
Is there objection?
Mr. President.
Senator from Texas.
Reserving the right to object. You know, I would note there is a long history of government trying to force the disclosure of the identity of political contributions, and much of that history is sordid. Indeed, in a landmark case before the United States Supreme Court, racist Southern Democratic politicians tried to force the NAACP to hand over their donor list. And they wanted to do so for reasons that were not difficult to discern, because they intended to persecute those who dared contribute to the NAACP.
So now Ted Cruz is arguing for corporations and politicians to be able to keep their financial ties secret. That's what he's arguing for. You guys, this is psychotic What Ted Cruz is arguing for here is psychotic. You guys should be outraged, and I know you guys don't give a fuck. But this is why politicians are corrupt. And he's literally blocking the legislation right now that is trying to uncorrupt politicians. And you can see it is the Democrats that are attempting it to uncorrupt the fucking politics, and the Republicans won't let them do it.
And the Supreme Court, in a landmark decision, concluded that the Constitution protects.
Fucking shout outs to the goddamn Democrats for at least trying. You guys should fucking take note. You guys should fucking recognize these motherfuckers, at least they tried.
Against that forced disclosure.
And you should remember, it's this badger-faced cunt that stood in the way.
But I will say, the majority leader said just a few minutes ago, that surely there must be some area of common ground, and indeed there is on this issue. I think all of us, if we were speaking in a moment of candor, if we were not engaged in our typical partisan battle on the floor,
if we were being honest and not being lying politicians, is what he's trying to say right now,
would acknowledge the current system is stupid. The current system makes no sense. Super PACs is stupid. The current system 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 is stupid.
The system that you stand there and defend, the gerrymandering, the hiding of the donors, yeah, it's stupid. And it's because of dumb cunts like you that it's stupid, Ted Cruz. You're the problem. You're the dumb cunt standing in the way. You guys got anything to say about any of this? Let me hear from you guys in the audience.
The current system makes no sense. Super PACs make no sense. Why is that? Because in all of our elections, every one of us has run for elections, there are super PACs, which are independent groups. It is illegal for us as candidates to speak with those independent groups. And in every one of our races, I see the senator from Arizona. He's going to have a hotly contested race. It wouldn't surprise me to see $100 million or more spent in his race, perhaps on both sides. Much of that will be spent in super PACs. It is illegal for us as candidates to communicate with those super PACs, and so we are left with a bizarre situation.
He said the whole political system that he's sitting there defending is stupid. And while he's sitting there defending it, he called out gerrymandering. He's defending it. He called out the political system. He's defending it. Dude, it's right in front of your faces to see, guys. I shouldn't have to sit here and point this out to you, but I know you're not going to watch this dumb cunt or Chuck Schumer unless someone like me shows it to you. You guys should not run away. A lot of you do. You should stay and watch and learn something. See what these motherfuckers are saying when you're not paying attention.
Situation where there's millions or sometimes tens of millions of dollars being spent on behalf of us, millions, sometimes tens of millions of dollars being spent attacking us, and we can't communicate with them. We hope it has some bearing or relevance to what we believe.
Dude, all of these Republicans want to be the next Donald Trump. And they figure, Billy, the best way to do it is just to become Donald Trump themselves. That's a scary thought, and that's exactly what they're all doing.
Every Congress since
they're trying to give America what America wants. America has already spoken. You know? They don't mind whether it's Trump or Biden. They don't mind. Millions of people went out and voted for both of those douchebags. Rapists. Racists. That's what America wants. How many people participated in that election? What was it? 75 million voted for Donald Trump and 80 million voted for Biden, something like that. So let's say 150 million Americans all don't mind voting for racist, rapist, child-sniffing, fondling, douchebags. Climate deniers. That's what Donald Trump is. Author of the crime bill. That's what Joe Biden is. They're both equally as bad, man.
Here, I've introduced legislation to end this. This is legislation called the Super PAC Elimination Act. This act does two very simple things. Number one, it allows unlimited individual contributions to federal campaigns. not from unions, not from corporations, but from real human beings, from people, unlimited contributions. I would note, this is the way the state of Texas handles state elections.
That's fucked
Number
up.
two,
That's wrong.
my legislation, the Sewer PAC Elimination Act, requires immediate 24-hour disclosure. So if an individual writes a check to a campaign, that gets disclosed immediately, and you can debate about whether that contribution was corrosive or not. This legislation would not prohibit super PACs, but as a practical matter, super PACs would fade from relevance because every candidate would much prefer money given to their campaign where you can spend on your own message. It would make far more sense to have an open, transparent system. Accordingly, I ask unanimous consent that the Senate proceed to the immediate consideration of a bill at the desk that would protect freedom of speech in America's electoral process and ensure transparency in campaign finance. I ask unanimous consent that the bill be considered read a third time and passed, and that a motion to reconsider be considered made and laid upon the table.
Mr. President,
Majority Leader.
I object to the senator from Texas's legislation. It's obvious to just about every American it would make a bad situation even worse. So I object.
Objection is heard. Is there objection? Is there objection to the original request from the Senator of New York?
I object.
Objection is
Mr.
heard.
President, in
Majority
conclusion, before I turn it over to some of my colleagues. So Democrats have tried to do something very simple. We asked the Senate to start debate, just debate, on legislation to protect voting rights and strengthen our democracy. Republicans said no. Democrats asked to debate a measure just to prevent partisan gerrymandering. And I'm frankly, in my colleague's response, he was all over the lot. It's good to have politicians do it. It's not good to have politicians do it. It's good to have judges do it. It's not good to have judges do it. We would set standards to make sure that in a state like Wisconsin, where 53% of the people voted for a Democratic member of the state assembly, only a third of the districts were Democratic, drawn by a Republican legislature. So Republicans have said no, they don't even want to debate these issues. Democrats asked to debate a measure to bring much-needed transparency to campaign donations and get special interest dark money out of politics. Republicans still said no. So let there be no mistake about what is going on here. We have reached a point in this chamber where Republicans appear to oppose any measure, no matter how common sense, to protect voting rights and strengthen our democracy. Let there be no mistake, both inside this chamber and outside of it. Republicans have formed a wall, a total wall, of opposition against progress on voting rights in the United States Senate. Even on an issue as sacred as the right to vote, Senate Republicans refuse to allow even a debate. They're afraid to debate it. Yesterday morning, we saw what it looks like when the Senate comes together. This is what it looks like when it doesn't. Apparently, there are very serious and important limits to bipartisanship. There are some issues where Republicans refuse to join us in good faith to make progress for our country. I never thought I'd see the day when voting rights, which used to be supported in a bipartisan way as recently as 2006, would be one of those issues. But that's what we have come to, total Republican intransigence when it comes to simple measures to make our democracy more perfect and strengthen the hand of the individual voter. Now let me be clear. Republicans refusing to support anything on voting rights is not an excuse for Democrats to do nothing. In recent weeks, I have met with a number of Democratic senators. Senators Klobuchar and Merkley, Manchin and Warnock and Padilla, Kane, King, and Tester, and Manchin, to discuss a compromise voting rights bill. We've made a great deal of progress on that legislation. We had a very good meeting as recently as yesterday afternoon, and we intend to rally around it. So tonight, I am filing cloture on a vehicle to allow the Senate to take up the compromise voting rights bill. Voting rights will be the first matter of legislative business when the Senate returns to session in September. Our democracy demands no less. I yield the floor.
Wow.
I yield to my colleague from Oregon, and then my colleague from Rhode Island.
Mr. President,
Senator from Oregon.
we have the privilege to come to this floor and examine issues important to every American. And what could be more important than the fundamental right to participate in the guidance of our country, to be able to cast a ballot. That ballot box, it's the pulsating heart of our republic.
Well, you know, a lot of us used to believe that, but I no longer believe that the ballot box is the heartbeat of the republic. I believe that the election is a sham in that it doesn't matter who you elect, they never do anything for us anymore. So maybe I believed that 2-3 years ago. Enough politicians have proven to me that they're not willing to fight for my rights that I no longer subscribe to that line of thinking.
In fact, it's 56 years ago, just a couple days ago, that President Johnson signed the Voting Rights Act of 1965. And what did he say? He said it's wrong, deadly wrong, to deny any American the opportunity to vote. What was deadly wrong in 1965 is deadly wrong in 2021. It's hard to believe that over 50 years, over half a century has passed, and we're reverting to that period before 1965, where there was a systematic effort to target specific groups of voters and prevent them from going to the poll. And we all know how this worked. On election day, there'd be fewer precinct voting locations in those areas you didn't want to vote. And they would be understaffed, so there'd be long lines. Or their voting machines would be out of order. Or they would change the location every 2 years so people would be confused about where to go. Or they would locate them where there was no parking. All of these things deliberately aimed at preventing black Americans from voting and preventing other communities of color from voting.
Now, I hope that you guys heard all of that. I'm going to go ahead and play it back again for you, okay? We're going to go back 1 minute. Listen to this. This is 16 minutes into this video. Ted Cruz successfully blocks Chuck Schumer's attempt to pass For the People Act.
There was a systematic effort to target specific groups of voters and prevent them from going to the poll. And we all know how this worked. On election day, there'd be fewer precinct voting locations in those areas you didn't want to vote. And they would be understaffed, so there'd be long lines. Or their voting machines would be out of order. Or they would change the location every 2 years so people would be confused about where to go. Or they would locate them where there was no parking. All of these things deliberately aimed at preventing black Americans from voting and preventing other communities of color from voting. Well, today we're seeing in state after state after state an expanded version of this, not just targeting black Americans and other communities of color, but also targeting poor communities and college students.
Wow.
And we see these laws unfolding in just the recent months. I would expect 100 of our colleagues here to stand up and defend the ballot box.
You would think. I mean, I don't even have any faith in this system anymore, and I'm fucking defending it. These motherfuckers that you've elected, these cunts that we pay to lead us, they won't even take time to fucking speak like this guy is. He makes a really good point right there, guys. These are our leaders. They're not leading. They're not doing their jobs.
Aren't we long removed from those and college students? And we see these laws unfolding in just the recent months. I would expect 100 of our colleagues here to stand up and defend the ballot box. I would expect 100 of our colleagues here to stand up and defend the ballot box. I would expect 100 of our colleagues here to stand up and defend the ballot box. I would expect 100 of our colleagues here to stand up and defend the ballot box.
And how dare they not do their fucking jobs? How dare these cunts not do their fucking jobs? Let alone vote in the correct manner to defend this shit.
Aren't we long removed from those days of that racist past? But apparently not.
Nope. You should see the racism I saw the other day on the internet. There's a lot of racists out there. There's a lot of racists.
Where all men and women are created equal, and every man and woman has a right to participate
Millions
in the
of
guidance
them.
of this country.
Like cockroaches.
You know, we know that in the founding of our country, we had a beautiful vision imperfectly formed. That black Americans, Native Americans, women were not allowed to vote. We fixed those things over time. We've progressed in an arc to full opportunity. And that's what we're fighting for now. Full opportunity of every citizen to have a full measure of what it means to be a participant in a republic. Oh, there's much more in this bill to mend the assault on equal representation through the diabolical gerrymandering denied to bias the outcome for one party over the other. And
hello? Most other countries are way more racist than America. Yeah, but you know what, Billy? I'm not willing to put up with any of it. You know? I'm better than all of them.
certainly to keep billionaires from buying elections. And when we ask people around the country, independents, Democrats, Republicans, they all say, we do not want billionaires to buy elections. We do not want equal representation destroyed by diabolical gerrymandering. And we want every citizen to have access to the ballot box. But in this chamber, suddenly, the views of the Republicans across this country are forgotten by my Republican colleagues across the aisle. In that thirsty quest for power, they're willing to violate the fundamental principles that inspire our nation. And it is wrong, deadly wrong today, as it was in 1965. Thank you, Mr. President.
Rhode Island. Word on dark money. When the Republican justices on the Supreme Court,
you guys know I always tell you the score.
I
always tell you the score, and I think Rockfin won by a tiny, tiny bit. So Twitter was first. Twitter's always first, and then Rockfin, and then YouTube. But either way, we're gonna get right to it. As I adjust my knee, what are you gonna do? What's up, everybody? Good afternoon to all my East Coasters. Good morning to all my West Coasters. Good evening if you're in an evening time zone, and to everybody in the future, Australia, New Zealand. I hope all's great. Since you have an extra day of science, please solve climate change and text me the solution. I'll spread the word. All right. Shout out to everyone who makes the show possible. Our friends over at Indie Left. Indie Left is the place to grab the content from all the content creators you know and love. They curate a list and they update it twice a day of streamers and article writers and videos and everything. It's a one-stop shop for your news. To find out everything that they got going on and to subscribe to their Discord community. They got an interactive Discord community. Check them out at independentleft.media. That's independentleft.media. So, folks, today's episode took a very, is going to take, and I guess took past tense too, a different turn very rapidly. So, my guest today was going to come on here to talk about a new project called Panquake. That we're still going to talk about it. It's not like we're not going to talk about it. We still are. But there has been some very breaking news in regards to Julian Assange. And my guest today felt a little weird promoting a project while this is simultaneously going on. So we're going to talk about it. And we're still going to talk about Panquake briefly.
What's going on with Julian Assange?
I'm probably going to have her on a future episode to do a more extensive dive into what Panquake's all about. But first, we're going to be talking about what's going on with Julian Assange. But without further ado, please welcome my guest for today, Miss Susie Dawson. Susie, how are you?
Hi, Ron. Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely. So here's some breaking news regarding Julian Assange. U.S. tries again to extradite WikiLeaks Assange from Britain. This is a headline from Reuters.
Fucking asshole.
So basically what happened today,
Motherfuckers.
I found out this morning, and you found out recently as well, the U.S. is still trying to get Julian Assange to the United States. And so they are... Jim Lee is a very pretty black cat, just like my pretty black cat. So Jim Lee says meow, and Lucy says meow, and Progressive and Proud says peace, and Susie says peace.
Man, I wish he would have promoted.
Nashville, Louisville, Indianapolis, Chicago, Minneapolis, Madison. Don't wait. Grab your tickets.
Promote that you're going to be on Nays Garden tomorrow, buddy. Tell your audience.
We cannot wait to see you. And in the meantime, you guys know the drill, Lucy. But it's especially heavy when you're talking with someone who has a personal relationship with the guy. And not only are you seeing this crime against humanity that deserves an emotional response and warrants an emotional response in people who have a pulse, but also people who, it's personal for them. That makes it even heavier. It really does. Tiny Dancer, thank you very much for your Super Chat contribution. Thank you for helping keep this show on the air. And for the dancing pair, I love the pairs. I love the frickin' pairs. So thank you, Richard. Thank you, Ray. Thank you, Deadeye. Thank you, Tiny Dancer. And over on the Rockfin, thank you, Carolyn. And thank you, Danny, for your generosity and your Super Chat contribution. And again, thank you to everyone who has given to the movie GoFundMe so far. I'm so excited about this thing. I'm really excited about this thing. Please check out that movie trailer. I'll be showing it on the stream on another time. I think that's not something that I'm going to do today, but I'll be showing the trailer. We'll be talking more about it on this show. But I'm very excited. Again, that movie is called Left at Wall. If you go to GoFundMe.com, you can just search Left at Wall. You can watch the trailer and make a contribution if you want to see it, and if you are able to. And we're very, very excited. And thank you to everybody so far. Again, I'll go through that. Thank you, Anonymous, Renee, Podcast by George, Brittany, Annalise, Kim. Thank you guys so much. And I can't wait to start making this movie. And you can watch the trailer now if you want to see what this movie's all about.
Oh, so
and
the
of course,
movie's
folks, tour dates, I got them. Grandma Wood and I, RonPlacone.com to grab your tickets now. San Francisco, Sacramento, Los Angeles, Tucson, Tempe,
Sacramento,
Detroit, Cleveland, Pittsburgh, Philly, New York City, Washington, D.C., Asheville, Jacksonville, Gainesville,
Good, Nick.
Orlando,
Good.
Miami, Tampa, Nashville, Louisville,
J&J.
Indianapolis, Chicago, Minneapolis, Madison. Don't wait. Grab your tickets. RonPlacone.com for all those tickets. We can't wait to see you. We cannot wait to see you. And in the meantime, you got...
He never said anything.
Thank you, Renee. Or Rennie. Thank you very much. Thank you, Podcast by George. Check out Podcast by George, by the way. Thank you, Brittany. Thank you, Annalise. And thank you, Kim. Thank you all very, very much.
I guess you have to do a super chat to get mentioned.
Susie today. Even, of course,
I'm so sad.
Not the happiest of circumstances, and not what we were originally going to do. It wasn't... happened to have Susie scheduled today. Like again, we were...
I'm hurt by what happened because I wish it wasn't happening to Julian.
I've offered him more triage oil, but he didn't accept it, and he doesn't promote it on his show anymore. But he promotes this independent.left.news. I wonder how they're doing with that promotion. Independent.left.news. Nobody liked my picture. Whatever. Oh, it got 2 likes. Nick and Doc, thank you for liking my picture of Rogie when he was a tiny little puppy. He's so fucking cute. Little piglet. He's so fucking cute, little piglet. Cute little piglet. Cute little piglet. Little piglet. He's so fucking cute, little piglet. It's not working. Isn't that weird? What triggered that? He's so fucking cute, little piglet. So okay, piglet. I guess I could hear the okay Google in there. I guess I could hear the okay Google in there. Okay, Google. Hey, Google. Hey, Google. Okay, Google, stop. I just, why you beasling? Why you beasling, piglet? Buying your second dog? No. I'm not getting a second dog. No way. Joe and Rogan. It was going to be, the dog's name was going to be Podcast. It was going to be Rogan and Podcast. Hey, Rogan Podcast.
Limited money in the disgraceful Citizens United decision. That suddenly made something new very important. And that was to hide who you are when you're spending the money. If the biggest check you can write is $5,000, there's no great premium in hiding who you are. When you can write a $5 million check to back a candidate, suddenly hiding who you are becomes extremely valuable and salient. So suddenly this became very real. But those justices who had opened the door to unlimited money, when they made that decision, in order to justify that decision, they had to say that the spending had to be transparent. Otherwise, the Citizens United decision would not have worked in the constitutional scheme. They had to say that. But for the next decade, what did they do about it? Case after case came before them where the dark money problem was raised. We rode through $1 billion in dark money being spent in our elections. This was on the front page of the newspaper. This was being done in plain view. And what did the Republican justices on the Supreme Court do to enforce their own stated requirement of transparency? Not one thing. And so we have had a decade of corruption of government by billionaire interests who can hide who they are and operate through an enormous phalanx of phony front groups whom they have stood up. And if you want to know how real this is, look at what we have had to do in the reconciliation measure to address climate change. Because when I got here, there were Republicans willing to address climate change. We had bill after bill in the Senate that were bipartisan and serious and sincere. That stopped dead in January of 2010 when Citizens United was decided, the dark money spigots opened, the fossil fuel industry behind them enforced compliance across the entire Republican Party. If you crossed the fossil fuel industry on climate change, you were Bob Inglis, you were out, you were done. If you lined up with them and did what they said, in came tens of millions of dollars in dark money to support you. It was a devil's bargain, and it cost us a lost decade on climate change, and now we have to go forward, sadly, in a partisan way to solve this problem. That is the pressure of dark money in our politics. It is behind the capture of the Supreme Court. It is behind voter suppression. This is demonstrable stuff. And we've got to put an end to it, and it is a tragedy and a disgrace that we can't go to cleaning up the dark money mess. My Republican colleagues and their dark money groups are actually at the point now where they're accusing us of taking dark money. They're accusing Democrats of being dark money party. Well, we just settled that question tonight. Democrats want to clean it up. They want to protect it. It's as simple as that. That's all you need to know. I yield the floor.
That's fucked up, man. All right, man. I hope you guys enjoyed and appreciated that. I love you guys. I will see you this evening around 7:10ish my time. 7, something like that. You guys take care. Bye now.